Parshat Noach, the story of Noah and the great flood, quite possibly the first Bible story any of us here ever learned. But it's not a kid's story. It's actually one of the most painful, shocking, and grown-up stories in all of literature and, of course, in all of Torah. This is Genesis chapter 6, verse 11, just 2 verses into this week's reading. Vatimale haaretz chamas. The earth was filled with chamas. It's a Hebrew word. It means violence, chaos, lawlessness. It just happens to be a false cognate with the acronym that is the name of the Islamo-fascist terrorist entity that on October 7th, 2 years ago, launched its own genocidal attempt to eradicate the Jewish people in Israel, ruthlessly murdering 1,200 of our brothers and sisters and precipitating a bloody war that has lasted for far too long already and claimed too many lives. The world was filled with violence and lawlessness. In response, more brutality, a devastating flood that would destroy all life on earth, save for one family, Noah, Mrs. Noah, their kids, and every animal 2 by 2 on the ark. Perhaps it is a second literary irony that when Hamas launched its attack on Israel, it named it a flood. Their attack is called the Al-Aqsa flood, the intention being to destroy Israel and reclaim Al-Aqsa, which is what they call the shrine at the top of what we call the Temple Mount, that disputed holy piece of land that is the centermost place for those Muslims who live in that part of the world, and of course for the Jewish people throughout history. It's a story about devastation. It's a story about death. But it's not only a story about destruction. It is also a story about hope. You just have to read all the way to the end of the story. Torah comes to teach us no destruction is forever, not even an earth-shaking flood. At the end of the story, God promises never again to wield that kind of destructive power and places in the heavens a sign that is familiar when sunlight comes after rain. And that, of course, is the rainbow. And ever since, our tradition teaches that when we look to the sky and see a rainbow after a storm, we're reminded that no destruction lasts forever, and that we are bound covenantally in a treaty of peace with the creator of the universe. We need signs and symbols, especially now, to remind us that no destruction lasts forever, and that even after a period of terrible devastation, it is okay to say we're ready for a new chapter.
Over the past 2 years, many of us have chosen to wear dog tags and hostage pins, another physical symbol meant to keep close to our hearts those held hostage in Gaza, a constant reminder that has stayed with us through each day. This Shabbat, we will create another physical symbol to represent the moment in which we now find ourselves, having welcomed home all of our living hostages and still with heavy hearts, awaiting the remains of 13 more. Tonight, we will offer to all who wish to do so the opportunity to move their dog tags or pins to this board, the front of the sanctuary. The board will remain on display over the coming weeks so that all who wish to do so might add their dog tags and pins. Returning for just a moment to this week's Torah portion, I want to note that the rainbow was not a symbol of closure. With most of the world destroyed after the flood, the path forward for Noah and his family was entirely uncertain. The rainbow was not a symbol of closure, but instead represented the ongoing partnership between God and humanity, a resolve to rebuild, and a stubborn insistence on hope. This ritual tonight is also not meant to provide closure, with some of our people still in Gaza, and with so much of the path forward uncertain. Our ritual instead is meant to mark this moment in time as we seek a glimmer of hope in looking ahead, all the while keeping front and center those of our people we must not leave behind. This communal display gives our congregation as a whole the opportunity to continue to carry the weight of this next stage together. This display is intentionally temporary, reflecting the uncertainty we all feel in this moment. It is our prayer that our hostages will come home, and we will, as a community, consider how we might display these symbols of the past 2 years in a more permanent way. As we continue to await the return of our hostages, some will choose not to remove these physical symbols, or perhaps to place one on the bulletin board and to continue to wear the other. Tonight's ritual sanctifies both of these choices. I offer a prayer written by Rabbi Oded Mazor, the spiritual leader of Congregation Kol HaNeshama in Jerusalem. In the days when each hour collides with the next, we have no choice but to cry and to laugh with the same eyes, to mourn and to dance at the same time, and the long arc of history is compressed into 1 day and 1 hour. We ask for the strength to contain the intensity of our bursting hearts, to rejoice with those who have been able to embrace, to enfold all of those leaning into their longing, souls trembling, to hold on to hope without letting go, and to leave some quiet space for a silent scream. Please grant us the room to shatter into pieces and the spirit to be rebuilt anew. We will take the next few minutes for our own silent reflections accompanied by Achenu, the anthem we have sung over these past 2 years, praying for the safety of all of our people in peril. As we pray silently, we invite all who wish to add their dog tags or pins to our bulletin board to come forward and to do so.